Welcome to Breaking the Glass Ceiling podcast. We'll be talking about the challenges we all face when we pursue success. We'll talk to individuals and professionals who give us insight and practical advice on how they broke the glass ceiling and actually reached their goals. Our mission is to give you the tools and resources that help you overcome obstacles and unlock your full potential. Our episodes may get a little edgy, so you may want to buckle up and get ready to break those pesky glass ceilings. Now here's your host, a true professional ready to take the journey with you, Celeste Sierra.
All right, and I am so excited and so thrilled to be here on our very first episode of our Breaking the Glass Ceiling podcast. Yay! And of course, I had to have my husband / partner in crime and business partner and just like everything under the sun here with us.
Yes.
I'm so excited, right? You look very excited today.
Yeah, it's a little out of the element, but we'll make do.
Well, I wanted to start with obviously introducing ourselves and talking about our business. Obviously, when we met, a lot of people don't know, but you already had your real estate license.
Yes.
So kind of like our businesses just kind of automatically meshed, right, with me being mortgages.
Yeah, I had my real estate license since 2006, way before I met you.
That wasn't way before, but I mean, just a few years, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And then we met.
In
2000.
I was hoping you knew.
2014. Yes, 2014. Okay, he doesn't know, but whatever.
I was going to say 14, 15, around that time.
So you were already working. So you have your regular job, which a lot of people know about, but you want to tell those that don't know what you do and how you incorporated, obviously, your real estate?
Yeah. I've been in law enforcement for over 28 years, soon to retire, hopefully after with a 30-year career. Got started in real estate really by it being Plan B.
Right.
Law enforcement is a very challenging career, and you never know when it could end, or you need to find something, and you always have to have a Plan B. And I took it as my Plan B. Took my younger brother George with me. We started taking the real estate licensing. Got our real estate license, and I've had it ever since. I never let it lapse. I've always hung it, had it active. Whether I was not selling or not involved, I was always active in real estate, whether it was for myself or family and friends. I didn't really voice it a lot just because my primary career.
So you feel like you've always had the entrepreneur mind in you, or just like that spirit of like just being self-employed too, or?
Well, no, I really enjoy real estate.
Right.
I think even when we found our house, I always walk into a house and I look at it and I go, we can move this wall, we can do this, we can do that, and just think of what's possible.
Right.
And I think that's what drove me to it and allowed me to stay within.
So the possibilities.
Yeah.
They're endless within that business.
Of course, and just it's exciting to see someone sell them their first home and how excited they were, and because in my full-time career I deal with the worst of people and and see them in the worst moments, to be able to be a part of something joyous and someone thank you for that is really a great experience.
Right. Then a lot of people always ask when it comes to being self-employed and all this stuff, right? How do you balance marriage and business? I always tell people that there's no balance in business and personal life. And in our case, in marriage, like I feel like the balance is just being in balance because, you have ups and downs when it comes to business in general. What would you say what do we do? Like, do you feel like it is balanced? Do you feel like we just kind of go with the flow? Like, what would you tell people about, or people that think that want to go into business together, let's say another couple, another husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, that want to go into business together, but they are afraid of what's going to do to their relationship?
I really thought about that. Like, what makes us work? What makes
Right.
it work? Everybody, like I said, everybody has a good partner in crime. Whatever way you want to categorize it. I think you really have to be on the same page. And I think the fact that I was already involved in real estate, I was already involved in that aspect of it. I think it really meshed well with
Right.
you and I, and it's just worked. I know I can sometimes be a naysayer or kind of like be reluctant because I fall into that accumulation type mentality where no, I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that. And you need that person who motivates you but holds you back, but also holds you accountable. And I think that
Right.
you and I do that well for each other. Even in the ventures that we've had where we've purchased properties and stuff, and sometimes I say, nah, I don't think so. And then
Which is another thing that people always talk about, right? Like
Yeah.
buying, some of the things that we've done, real estate, and then we do mortgages, and then now with the financial services. But then people also know about our investing out of state. I think we need to talk a little bit about that to be like completely transparent and honest, right? Because it's broad issues. You are the one that deals with most of those issues. And then sometimes we do tend to bring that stuff into the household, but we work through it and then we, get above that and go beyond that. But at the end of the day, it's always our willingness to work together. And then not only that, but diversifying our investments, right?
Yeah, I think for couples that want to work together, I think being on the same page, like I said, it has to work, because I've met many people who are interested in buying a second home or a vacation home to quote Airbnb it,
Right.
and they can't even settle on what home to buy,
Right.
and they can't even get off that ground, And for you and I think we both have the mentality of yes, we want to invest. And we invested out of state. We started initially with a property in Arizona where I've always been an avid boater, and I had it stored in Arizona.
And I was never into that. And then I kind of got into it because of you too.
Correct.
So, yeah.
And so when we looked to buy our first property out there, it was more to store the boat, but then it came with a property on it, and it was like, oh, okay, well, we'll do this, and we only use it as a second home. We didn't use it as an Airbnb or a second
Right.
anything, because I always felt that it wasn't Airbnb quality. But we again, having that partner that pushes you to do it, behind my back.
I think it's being open-minded too,
Yes.
right? Yeah, like a lot of things I did do behind your back. Not behind your back. I did some things and then I talked to you about it before
After.
actually doing it.
After.
Well, what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Well, yeah. So we started our first Airbnb with that, and then we went on, and then of course, it started taking off, and then of course, yes, problems do arise,
Right.
and it does cause tension because it's of course, who's going to handle it, and ultimately I take it on. So yeah, I wear many hats. I'm not only full-time cop, have real estate now into financial services, but property management as well as organization.
Let's
of
talk a
everything.
little bit about the financial services, because that's a business that you and I technically got together, started together, right? Because you were interested in it, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And then we opened up we got the franchise with the financial architects, and that's been going very well, obviously. But that was something that I think that's something to be able to be successful when you're working with your husband or your partner. It's because you both have to be passionate about, right? So what I guess advice would you give to other couples that are thinking of wanting to do something together, but then you do have that one person, and I'm not saying the husband or the boyfriend, maybe it could be, the other spouse. They're reluctant about doing something with their significant other. Like, why would you tell them like they do want to, but then they're kind of like, oh, maybe we'll end up fighting and it's going to end up bad?
Well, it'll definitely test the relationship, whether it's a marriage, a friendship, or whatever it is, because it doesn't just have to be your spouse. It could be a friend or whoever it is, because you're
Right.
stronger together than doing it by yourself, as we found out. Because where I may fall short, you may rise to that occasion, and vice versa. So it has to balance each other out. I really don't think that there's one piece of advice. I think when the moment's right that it's going to work, and if it doesn't work, then step back from it and figure out something that does.
Talking about maybe the future, do you have anything in mind? Like, I have right here, I wanted to talk about future plans for the business. I mean, we do have several businesses, obviously. Let's talk about that. So you deal with the management of 4 properties in Ohio. They are not in the same city. So we have 2 duplexes in Cleveland. They're newer. You dealt with a lot of issues with that because one was a full remodel. Then we have the other 2 in Columbus. Then we have, what do we have? Airbnb in Arizona, and then the other one in Topak, Arizona, and then you have the 4 units in San Bernardino and the 3 units in Bell, and so there's like all these moving parts, right, that you are handling, and then on top of that, you have your full-time job, you have your real estate license, which you are still very active on because you said you have clients right now that you're looking for a home for, and then you have your life insurance license, so you're actively working for the financial architects as well. But I think it comes from your passion to help people. Correct. Which is where like I come from too, right? When it comes, and I talk about this all the time with mortgages, especially nowadays with the financial architects and trying to bring education to everyone that we meet. You do the exact same thing that I do. And I think that's, again, one of the things in common that we care about others, right? And then so you deal with everything that you deal with, like I said, with the properties and work and everything, but you still find the time to talk to others about financial services, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they've said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Right.
And I think that that's very important because I do what I like to do, and money's just a byproduct of it. Being financially compensated for doing what you do, you don't look at the sale, you don't look at how much you're going to make. It's more of, let me get this, home sold, these people placed, this done, and move on to the next. But I don't take it to that level where I overwhelm myself with it, even though
sometimes
I may see, well, those are issues that arise from things that are going on. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I deal with one person at a time. I'm not handling multiple clients, or maybe it's just because I take care of one person at a time, and I'm not doing it because I'm not doing it full time. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
But it is something that I'm going to dive into coming up because I do turn of retirement age. I won't disclose that. I do turn.
You're retiring young, though, for the normal retirement age.
Yes.
Let's just put that out there.
Yes. And in law enforcement, I will have 30 years when I retire.
Right.
So I'm fortunate enough and blessed enough that I'm making it towards the end, and I'm able to do that. And for what's in the future, I think I'm going to immerse myself into this because I really like it. As far as financial services goes, for me, without even knowing it, I was always involved.
Right.
Because
you've always talked to people about financial services, even before we had the franchise.
Yeah, because I remember being a young policeman. In law enforcement, there's really no education on financial services. There's no, hey kid, you got to do this, you got to do that, this and that. Fortunately, I was fortunate enough.
And for any career, for that matter.
For most careers, yes.
Yeah.
Unless you're dealing at a top executive level, now you're dealing your executive package, and
right.
And you know what you want. But you got to remember, I was 21 years old, just came in, was just happy to have a job, the dream job of my life at that moment. And to do what I love doing. I was doing it for free. I started as an explorer at 16 years old. And so to be able to go into that and say, wow, I'm getting paid to do what I like. Oh, wow, this is crazy. And, but fortunately I had mentors or people, training officers older than me who actually guided me and actually told me, hey, kid, do you have a savings account? No? Okay. And took me to our credit union at the time when we did have one and started a savings account.
Right.
I won't name the company, but we had a representative of it come down at,
I was going to say, just name it.
I was 23 years old, and, they said, hey, do you have life insurance? No, what's that? Oh, okay. Well, and I signed up for a term policy. So, I really think that you have to be a client of what you're doing
100%.
in order to understand what value you're bringing to that
and what
person.
you're offering to others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it has to be valuable. And I think now, in retrospect, I'm glad that I did all those ventures, whether they were good, led me in the right direction or in the wrong direction. It was a direction, and a direction is what brought me here now. And I can tell you that, hey, you know what? The term insurance and invest the rest mentality, it may be good for a certain point in your life, but I'm going now on a little older and have a lot more assets in my name and a lot more responsibilities.
So talking about being a little older with all your responsibilities and businesses and everything that you're doing, if it was your Ishmael at 20 years old, just starting your career, what would you tell that young self? Like, what would you do different?
The very same things that I'm doing now to all the younger
So you would
kids.
actually do what you're doing now at that young age?
Absolutely.
You would educate yourself?
Absolutely. And start early because, like I said, I started with a term policy, but I also had a Roth IRA. I also did, a money market account, and I had all those things. I was diversifying. I also had my beat partner for a long time, his uncle. I want to say he worked for Northwestern Mutual. They sold me a whole life policy. I was like, what's whole life? Oh, okay, whatever. Kept it for a couple of years, and then I ran across what I thought were perceived hard times, and so I stopped paying it, and then I ended up getting a check for $20,000, and I'm like, whoa, why did I get this for $20,000? I only had it for like about 10 years or so.
You didn't even know how it worked, but you actually follow
Exactly.
the direction of
Exactly.
older people that advised
Exactly.
you, and you were one of those that actually listened.
Exactly, and so I get this $20,000 check, and I'm like, oh shit, that was nice, but I didn't. I couldn't. I didn't.
Let's bleep that S word. I'm just kidding.
Well, those are just the mild words I'll use.
Yeah.
But so I got it, and I didn't know until just recently, and I mean recently because it was probably about 5 years, 5 years before I retired, that I started looking at shifting all my investments and looking at what I got, and that's when we ended up meeting Manny, and
Right.
started learning about all the different types of products that.
And there's so much stuff out there for people.
Absolutely, and and of course hindsight's always 20/20, but we can't look back. We have to look forward, and even at retiring at 50 years old, I still got another.
You just gave your age away, by the way.
I know.
You're soon
it's
to
gonna
be
happen.
age.
Yeah,
I had another thing that I wanted to bring up too. It says, I wrote down, discuss expertise and skills that each of you bring to the business and how you leverage those skills to make your business successful. So what would you say? What would you say to everyone listening or watching that are our skills that have made us be successful in business? Or what do you think has that we've done that has helped us, I guess? How can we help others to maybe achieve what we've done so far? Because what we've done and what we've accomplished, I mean, not that it could be like the greatest, but I think that we've done pretty well. And, the last, how many years? 9 years, 9.
I was there.
But I mean, yeah, like why would we tell others like how to, again, break through the glass ceilings? Like what is stopping people nowadays, or even friends of ours, right? That I get people all the time, even friends of ours that are like, oh, that's my goal. That's what I want to do. And you get the same thing too, because we talked about it, right? People always say they want to do these things. They want to buy units and blah, blah, blah. What do you think it is that has made us different? Like why? Like, or how? What have we done?
Well, there's a lot of things. Number one, I think you being the foundation on this whole thing is very important, because without it, I mean, I don't think that I would have taken this venture to do this. I think you bring a lot of knowledge to the table, and you know, from where I met you to now where you're at, you've definitely grown with or without me. Obviously, I just added a little bit more, but that is definitely one huge thing that is very supportive, having a supportive spouse. And as far as, you know, people asking, what do you do? I want to do that. And, you know, admiring it. I think the biggest thing is everyone's afraid of failure. I'm afraid of failure. We
all are.
This being here is out of my element. It's out of my comfort zone. A lot of people don't know a lot about me, you know, even though, you know, I've been out there, but it's not being afraid to do it, to get out of your comfort zone.
Right, and just do it.
And not be afraid to fail forward, as we say.
Yeah.
You know, because with every failure comes a good lesson.
And that's 100% of what we've done. I totally agree, because every time that we've done something, there's always been a fear in every little thing, right? When we first bought the house in Arizona, I was like, ooh, should we do it? Should we not?
What's funny is that you always look at it like the blueprint. You know, the blueprint is, okay, you're going to take money from here, buy this and buy that. And I'm looking at what happens if this happens? What happens if a pipe leaks, if the refrigerator breaks? Who's going to call who? Oh shit, that's me. Oh no, I don't want to do that. But you know, it's always easy to look on it on the outside. And I think the uniqueness that we bring is the fact that I'm not afraid to talk about my failures. I'll tell people what to look for. Doesn't mean that they're going to get it. And sometimes some people think that that's a negative thing, like that. Oh, you're giving me the doomsday example.
Which is the difference between the two of us, because I always tell people, oh, just do it. Just go for it. Or how did you do it? I'm like, everyone's like, how did you choose Ohio? And I always tell everyone, I just went meeny, miny, mo on the map, and that's how I landed in Ohio. Like, that's almost what happened.
It took a little bit more.
But then people talk to you and you're like, oh, but then when this happens and that happens. But that's the balance. And again, there's no balance, but that's the balance between the two of us, right? Like, I'm always like seeing just like the flowers and the pink of everything, and then you're like telling people like the reality of it.
Well, I think it's things that people obviously know but want to hear, and it's not to deter them by any means. It's more to bring them to reality and say, hey, if you're going to do this, be advised of this. Because when you tell them to do something, they look at you and then they say, well, you told me to do this, and then they forget that you told them, oh, but you have to have contingencies for this and the contingency for that.
People forget about those things. They always remember. Like when I do loans, I always tell clients, okay, this is what's going to be, you know, your payment or your down payment. But then they always just seem to forget what the rate was or whatever. Like they always forget like the bad things about it, but the good things, no, the other way around. I don't know. But anyways.
Well, you know, being the fact that I have a military background, because I was in the military for a while, you know, they say, hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Right.
You know, you hope that it's going to turn out okay, but you got to plan for the worst case scenario. And I think that that's my mentality.
100%.
Because it's always been ingrained in me.
Because I never think about that.
It's always been ingrained in me. And because I'm the one that handles it. I'm the one who drives to Arizona. I'm the one who flies to Ohio.
Gentlemen and ladies, he complains all the time.
But that's part of it, you know, and like I said, you learn, you grow, and any failure, there's always a lesson. There's an underlining lesson to it. So, yeah, I mean, I think that that's the biggest thing that we can share with anyone who wants, you know, because if they say, oh, it must be easy. Oh, hell no, it's not easy. It's hard.
Well, I don't think that people think it's easy, because otherwise they would be doing it.
Well,
everyone knows it's difficult. or they're afraid.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone's afraid. I don't think it's just like individual. I think every single person would be afraid of taking a step and investing out of state the way that we have, because even now I'm like, how did we do that? Like that's far away. Ohio, it's not close to us.
I still remember, you brought up the Zillow listing.
Wait, and then the first property that we bought, we didn't even go to Ohio.
No, it was sight unseen.
We bought it, pay for it,
just by the
and
numbers.
we didn't even go until like a year later.
Yes.
So that's like really taking a risk.
Well, yeah. Well, you showed. I was going to explain
before I cut you off.
Yeah, before you cut me off. But see, you can't take this work balance home shit. Anyhow, you showed me the Zoom listing, and I was like, you're like, oh hey babe, this, and you're zipping through it and trying to show me pictures. I want nothing to do with it. And then I kind of paused for a minute and I go, hold on, wait, how much? 100,000 duplex? How much is each one renting for? What? You serious? And so I go, call the realtor.
Yep. And that's how it started.
And we just had him or her. I don't even remember who it was.
Right. It was.
I remember the second one because the second one was a little
and that's
different.
when we went down to Ohio, and then we ended up going to the first property.
Because that first one was sight unseen. It was just based on numbers because we ran the numbers. We ran potential highest case scenario rents, lowest case scenario rents, and what we thought were. And
this is all self-taught. We didn't really talk to anyone about.
No, it was all self-taught just through our experiences and you knowing the business and me kind of knowing what I know and doing what I did because I already had my triplex in Bell.
Right.
So we were dealing with that. So it was sight unseen, purely set on the numbers, and even then the interest rate wasn't that hot. We thought it was, oh my God, it's outrageous. How can we pay 5% on a second home or on an investment property? 5%? Shit, I wish
that is true.
I wish that was around now.
But talking about, so let's bring it back to the title of the podcast and bring it into what we're talking about, breaking the glass ceiling.
Yeah, let's talk about that, right? Because when you came up with that name, I was like, wow, that's too...
feminist?
Yeah, there you go. That was that word. It was a little too... But in actuality, when I thought about it, I go, I think it's more universal than we actually believe because I feel, and I'm only speaking for myself, I think it applies to everybody else, is that, we all have broken the ceiling. We're all first generation Hispanic, first generation born here.
I was not born here.
You were not born here. So, but, even for us, first generation born here, we're breaking the glass ceiling, to have graduated from high school, to gone to college, to obtain a graduate degree,
right.
to be able to do a career. Because when I first started in law enforcement, it was nothing but, white people. And I probably shouldn't say white people. I should probably be more politically correct. But anyhow, you guys get the message. And the reason why they started calling me Ish is because they couldn't pronounce my first or last name. Ismael Ververa, they couldn't pronounce that. So they just said, shit, your name's Ish, kid. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was just happy to be around. But, I think we each of us breaks that glass ceiling within our own life. Whatever your story is, whatever our views are, we're doing it every day. Whether
right.
it's you getting that promotion at your job, whether it's you, going to study to another country, another state, whatever it is.
Just doing things that you're not comfortable with, right?
Or just doing things that advance you and your family because, it's all about, our parents came here to give us better, to give us that one step up, whatever that one step up is and looks like for you.
Right.
Then I think that's you breaking your glass ceiling individually.
So breaking the glass ceiling, my main reason for the title was because I really want to help everyone. And I talked about this on one of my reels not long ago, that I feel like my mission and my purpose in life is to help others now break through the glass ceiling and accomplish the goals, right? I feel like I have a lot of goals in life still. I think that we've accomplished a lot of things together, and I think that the sky's the limit for us, and I know that there's a lot more that we want to do together. I know for a fact that once you retire and you're like full blown into financial services and real estate, we're going to blow up. But again, my main purpose for the podcast is to be able to help individuals, help couples, just help people in general. They really need that push to just kind of go through that first thing that they need to get through to get to their goal. If it's just like one little thing, right, that they need to accomplish, or maybe get rid of the fear. I think the fear is what people need to get over the most. And I tell a lot of people, like, just forget it. Just go and do it. If that's what you want to do, just go for it. If it doesn't work out, then you just get up and then go at it again, right?
Or go at it at a different angle.
Right.
So you basically, what you're saying is you want to be everyone's partner and being that little push.
I want to be everyone's cheerleader.
You want to be everyone's cheerleader that pushes them to do what they aspire to be and become. Kind of like that trip when we were coming back and you're like, how come, when we first started working together, how can we work together? Oh, I know. You can go get your notary license.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing we forgot about that. Well, that's for another podcast. But yeah, so I'm excited to have this and to be able to do more for everyone. And I really hope that everyone can get a little nugget or a little something and be able to accomplish something really big and wonderful and beautiful in their life.
Right. Well, I think you have been a prime example of that by just doing what you're doing, being who you're being. You know, this isn't your first time on TV or on screen per se. You know, you did, when I first met you, you were doing a what was that?
My cable show,
cable network show.
Yes.
And you were still doing the same without even knowing that you were aspiring people. And now when you're at this point, you bring back so much knowledge, so many relationships, so much energy that you resonate with people. They connect with you and you connect with them. You know,
I hope so.
The one thing that I do admire about you is that tenacity to be able to continue to do things and do better for yourself in your business and propel your business forward. You know, nobody ever likes buying a home. You know, nobody likes buying a car. Nobody ever likes
getting in debt.
Or I'm talking about the experience. Yeah. But, you know, what I find out is when they work with you, they all say, oh, my God, you've been the greatest, you know, because you're very dedicated. You're dedicated. You know, I know when we're out doing our whatever we're doing stuff, you know, having a family life or having a life, you know, you're on the phone. You know, and I think that's one thing that people don't understand, that it's a commitment. You know, when people are looking for homes or people are shopping for a loan or a mortgage, they want instant answers.
Yes.
You know, and they've called you and you're there and you handle business and you take care of it. And I think that's one thing that separates you, because coming from personal experience, I've dealt, you know, when I've bought homes previously with different lenders or different brokers.
Yes. Let's not talk about that.
You know, that you don't get that type of service. Most people are from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and shut their phones off. And it's like, oh, shit, I got to wait till Monday till my lender gets
not with me. But then again, thank you, because you understand that and appreciate that and understand that that's what we need to do, obviously, in our business, and to help others, especially when they're doing something that probably will be the biggest investment of their lives, not only with mortgages, but then also with their financial planning now that we're doing. That's something that it's one of the biggest things that people have to plan for. So thank you again for all of the nuggets and for everything that you've said about me. I appreciate it. And I'm very excited that you were my first VIP guest, and I can wait to see this out in the world for everyone to enjoy, and then hopefully it can help a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Breaking the Glass Ceiling. We hope you feel empowered to break free from limitations that hold you back, so achieving your dreams is now possible. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of our inspiring conversations. But before we go, we want to remind you that you are capable of greatness, and by joining us next time, you can start shaking off that self-talk so you can move forward. That's one step closer to breaking the glass ceiling.